Welcome, dear students. Today we are going to start the learning of a new topic of your class 12th English syllabus, and this topic is from your Flamingos, and the title is a poem, Aunt Jennifer's Diapers, and this is composed by Adrian Rich. So before going into the details of the poem, first we will discuss something about our poetess. Adrian Cecil Rich, one of America's foremost public intellectuals, was born on May 16, 1929, and she died on March 27, 2012. She was an American poet, essayist, and a feminist. She was one of the most widely read and influential poets of the second half of the 20th century. She was credited with bringing the oppression of women to the forefront of disclosure. She is widely known for her involvement in contemporary women's movement as a poet and theorist. She expressed strong resistance to racism and militarism opposed through her work. She was quite radical in both its free verse form and feminist and political content. She secured her place as one of America's preeminent feminist thinkers. Her career spanned almost for 7 decades. Her famous works are Diving into the Ray, Tonight No Party Will Serve, The Burning of Paper Instead of Children, The Art of Translation, Gabriel, 21 Love Poems Part 2 and 3. Now there is a use of word feminist in this slide. So what does this word feminist stands for? This word is having its origin in a movement, and the movement is feminism. Feminism is a range of social movement, political movement, and ideologies that aim to define and establish the political, economic, personal, and social equality of sexes. For having a good understanding of it, let's have a look of a video present in next slide.
Gender inequality doesn't make sense on any level. By marginalizing the rights of women, we deny ourselves the opportunity to lift millions of men, women, and children out of poverty, not to mention the chance of a just and fair world. From birth, girls and boys, women and men are expected by society to play certain roles and behave in certain ways based on traditions, religion, and other beliefs. These behaviors are learned and shape the gender norms in a society. Unfortunately, in many countries, gender norms create disadvantages for women. Often, girls are not sent to school. When they become women, they then have limited ability to earn money or realize their potential. Rural women play a major role in agricultural development. However, in many developing countries, women cannot formally own land. Without land, they cannot get loans to invest in their farms or businesses. This also means they have no control over the use of land or the benefits that come from it. Men generally control the household decisions, like how to use the family's assets. These disadvantages are often reinforced by practices that limit women's access to services, like training. Cultural beliefs can also restrict women's opportunities, such as in parts of Zambia where women cannot paddle their boats as it is considered bad omen. The result of these issues? Women remain poor, and agricultural production cannot reach its potential, perpetuating poverty and hunger in the developing world. The social norms that limit women's opportunities need to be understood and then changed. By taking a gender transformative approach, we can influence social norms and bridge the gaps in access to resources and services between men and women in a lasting manner. Change is needed on many levels, and both men and women must be involved for it to happen. Research and development organizations need to invest in programs that promote gender equality alongside improving productivity and incomes. Policies need to be implemented that increase women's access to services and resources. Communities need to support women as farmers and as leaders. Increasing women's voice and agency is a valuable end in its own right. When development organizations, policies, and communities support the success of women, we have a chance to reduce extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity for girls and boys, women and men around the world.
So after watching this video, we have a clear understanding of this fact that this movement feminism has its root in gender inequality or gender discrimination. This poem also explores a theme that radical feminists employ to assert the damage done by patriarchal marriage. In her poem, Aunt Jennifer Steigers, she addresses the issue of male dominance. The poem brings out the struggles and conflicts a woman has to go through in male chauvinistic society. Without gender inequality or without gender discrimination, there is no possibility of male chauvinistic society. Aunt Jennifer, the protagonist, is symbolic of women all over the world who are victims of oppression at the hands of patriarchal system. Thus, the poem illustrates the poet's feminist concerns. The poem throws light on her inner desire to free herself from the clutches of an abusive marriage and patriarchal society. Now, the poem Aunt Jennifer's Tigers. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Aunt Jennifer's fingers fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. When Aunt is dead, her terrified hands will dry. Still ring with ordeal she was mastered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing proud and unafraid. This poem consists 12 lines, and these 12 lines are divided into three stanzas of 4 lines each. So, a stanza of 4 lines, as we know, is called a quatrain. So, there are 3 quatrains, and the rhyming of the first quatrain is AABB, second quatrain is CCDD, and the third one quatrain rhyming scheme is EEFF. And the theme of the poem is, as already discussed, womanhood and marriage, repression of oneself by social institution. Now the explanation. Aunt Jennifer's tigers prance across a screen, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. Now we find that the tigers of Aunt Jennifer are prancing across a screen. Prancing is springing forward on the hind leg, and springing is jumping, moving forward with energy, with a jerk. So they are moving happily, they are moving with energy. These tigers present lots of energy. They are happy, they are moving freely. So these tigers are prancing across a screen, and this screen is a tablecloth or a tapestry or any curtain. And these tigers are bright topaz denizens of a world of green. These tigers are compared with bright yellow topaz stones. These topaz stones are jewel stones. So the beauty of tiger is compared with bright yellow topaz stone. They are as beautiful as bright yellow stone. And, and these bright topaz denizens They are the denizens of a green. What is green? Green stands for green forest. So they are the creatures, they are the living inhabitants of a green forest. Denizens means dwellers or inhabitants. So these beautiful yellow color bright tigers are the inhabitants or the denizens of green forests. They are living happily in these green forests. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. These tigers of Aunt Jennifer are not afraid or scared of the man beneath the tree. It means these tigers are not afraid of any men or living human being who are standing under the tree on which they are standing. Why? Because they are not real tigers or they are not living tigers. They are images created or embroidered by Aunt Jennifer on a tapestry. These majestic and fearless tigers also represent a sharp contrast to Aunt Jennifer's herself, who is the victim of the constraints of the married life of her. She is held captive by the oppressive behavior at the hands of her patriarchal husband. She creates in her art an alternate world of freedom. They are fearless, where Aunt Jennifer is afraid. Here, the contrast is present between Aunt Jennifer and tigers. They pace in sleek chivalric certainty. Now, these fearless tigers, here their movement is explained, it is described. How they are moving? They are moving in sleek chivalric certainty. Sleek is dexterous, that is perfect, skilled. These tigers are skilled, they are dexterous, they are perfect, and they are chivalric, they are graceful, they are courteous, they are mannered, and certainty is confidence. So these tigers are moving with dexterity, they are moving in courteous manner, and they are having confidence. So they move about with grace, elegance, and confidence. Here we find that Aunt Jennifer is missing these qualities from her husband. She is longing for respect, grace, manners, and confidence. Aunt Jennifer's hands fluttering through her wool find even the ivory needle to pull. Now we will find the traces of her patriarchal, suppressive marriage on her performance. We know that Aunt Jennifer is embroidering or creating tigers with the help of wool and ivory needle, but her hands are fluttering. Fluttering means shaking or trembling. So we find that with her feeble hands, she is finding difficult, she is finding it hard to draw the ivory needle out of wool. Why? Because there she feels mental and physical weakness due to the presence of terror and torture of her married life. Because she is terrorized, so she is finding a easy task of drawing ivory needle out of wool quite difficult. The massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon her hands. Now we know that the Christians marry by giving wedding rings to each other. These wedding rings are wedding band, and we find that wedding band seems quite heavy on her hand. It suggests that she feels burdened with the marital burdens and responsibilities in her married life. Throughout her life, this woman has remained afraid and suppressed. She feels so much subjugated that marital bond becomes a burden to her. This is also the reality of her life, like many other women. We find in the last stanza that Aunt Jennifer is feeling physical and mental weakness, and the massive weight of marriage band is showing that her marriage responsibilities are weighing her down, which makes her unable to fulfill her dream. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie still, ring with ordeals she was mastered by. Now the poetess is saying that the culmination of the dominance of her husband of a patriarchal society is quite evident in these two lines. She says that even there is a sad and cruel truth left to be revealed. And what is that truth? She says that even death will not be able to relieve her from the shackles and clutches of her traditional abusive married life. She had undergone the mental trauma during her whole life. Now, even at the death of her time, she is controlled by the ordeals of her husband. What are the ordeals? Ordeals are the painful experience or the trying experience. So, uh, in other case, normally death relieves a person from this mortal tragedies or mortal sufferings. But here, this is not in case of Aunt Jennifer. The tigers in the panel she made will go on prancing, proud and unafraid. There is a common statement or oft quoted conventional theme of literature that art endures beyond human life, and same case we find here in case of Aunt Jennifer. She had been subjugated to orders or whims or commands of her husband. But after her death, the art pieces created by her in the form of fearless proud tigers will remain eternally proud, elegant, and confident. They will outlive Aunt Jennifer. They will be fearless. These tigers represent her innermost desire to be free from constant fear and oppression that govern her life. No doubt, Aunt Jennifer will lie in her coffin, still quaking from the terrors that burdened her from experiencing a fearless life, but the tigers on her needlework will remain free to dance throughout eternity. Now, the use of figure of speech in this poem. There is used metaphor in bright topaz denizens. There is used alliteration in finger flattery, prancing proud. Symbolism is used in bright topaz denizens, massive weight of uncle's wedding band, and tigers. Tigers represent her hidden desires. Massive weight of uncle's wedding band represent male domination, and bright topaz denizens represent elegant colors. Hyperbole is present in massive weight of uncle's wedding band. Transferred epithet is present in terrified hands, and enjambment figure of speech is present in the massive weight of uncle's wedding band sits heavily on Aunt Jennifer's hand. Important questions. What do the tigers in the opening line of the poem represent? Why do the hands of Aunt Jennifer flutter, and why does she find it hard to pull the needle? What is the significance of wedding band, and why is Aunt Jennifer feeling burdened? Why does Aunt choose to embroider tiger opposite to her nature? What qualities of the tiger have been expressed in the poem? Thank you.